Asto Filsatat Systema Divine Grace is confound the child. Shira Abachan being the back to the down to Swami Papa Maras Ki. Jayo Visuva Paramahamsa Parivraj Acharya. Asto Filsatat Systema Divine Grace. Shira Bhaktis Danta Sara Sotata Kurgosam Papa Maras Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki. Namacharya Shri Haridasa Kuru Ki. Prem se kahao Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Kedarara Sivasari Si Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinan Samakunda Radha Kundagiri Gopadam Ki Jai. Savandavandam Ki Jai. Simaya Vanavadip Dham Ki Jai. Jaganapuri Dham Ki Jai. Gangamaya Yamunamaya Ki Jai. Samata Tulsi Devi Bhakta Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktavina Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand. All glory to the sum devotees. All glory to the sum devotees. All glory to the sum devotees. All glory is all glory to Sigura and Guranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, welcome you to this Sunday program here in Richmond. And today's discussion, as the President has already formally introduced the topic, we're going to share something based on the teachings of Lord Krishna on in the Bhagavad Gita, and that is going to be on envy. Envy. So, we take a text from the Bhagavad Gita, this very wonderful literature, Bhagavad Gita as it is. There are so many versions or translations of Bhagavad Gita, but this is called Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's a commentary of translations by the founder of ISKCON, founder Acharya, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So he's kindly did this translation because as a devotee of Lord Krishna, he knows the intentions of Krishna's presentation of the Bhagavad Gita, and if someone is close to you, he has a better understanding of who you are, what you're saying. When you smile, what it means. When you nod your head, what it means. When you wink your eyes, what it means. If someone is not close, they may not know. They may take everything based on a literary perspective. So, this Bhagavad Gita, as it is a commentary, a translation and commentary by a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. That is why we use this book as our text. So today's text will be taken from chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita. The title of this chapter is The Divine and Demoniac Nature. So text 19. Actually text 18 and 19. I will read both texts because both of them are related to envy. Text 18. Ahankaram balam dapam kamam kroda chasam sritaha mamatma paradehesu pradvisamtu vyasu yakaha. Translation: bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Chapter 19. Tanaham visataku kuram Samsari su naradam Chipamya Jasam Asubham Asurisu Eva Yonishu. Translation: those who are envious, and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Please kindly respond to repeat this last text, text 19, which is the text we're going to really base our discussion. Can you respond to repeat? Those who are envious, and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. So, this is the translation given by Prabhupada. And let's listen to the purport or the commentary of Srila Prabhupada. In this text, in this verse, it is clearly indicated that the placing of a particular individual soul in a particular body is the prerogative of the supreme will. The demoniac person may not agree to accept the supremacy of the Lord, and it is a fact that he may act according to his own whims, but his next birth will depend upon the decision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not on himself. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, it is stated that an individual soul after his death is put into the womb of a mother, where he gets a particular type of body under the supervision of a superior power. Under the supervision of superior power. Therefore, in the material existence, we find so many species of life, animals, insects, men, and so on. All are arranged by the superior power. They are not accidental. As for the demoniac, it is clearly said here that they are perpetually put into the wombs of demons. And thus, they continue to be envious, the lowest of mankind. Such demoniac species of men are held to be always full of lust, always violent and hateful, and always unclean. The many kinds of hunters in the jungle are considered to belong to the demoniac species of life. Come again to Mirandasya, Gilantana Salaka, Saksul and Maritam. Yana to smile, see Gurbe and Mahat. Banda Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Nichananda Sahoditu, Gurudaya Puspavantam, Chit Chandu, Tamon. Panchakalpatari Dacha, Kripa Sundabhya, Devacha, Patita. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu, See Advaita, Say Gaura Bhakti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. So, we choose to take a text from the Gita because, the Vedic literature is so all-encompassing. Sometimes we think that the problems that mankind is confronted with are beyond the jurisdiction of spirituality or beyond the jurisdiction of religion. Or, in other words, the Vedic tradition and the Vedic literature may not have a solution to it. But no. From a critical review of the Vedic literature, you'll find that all of the social ills of society have a solution that is based on the Vedic literature. So here, first of all, let us understand what is envy. What does envy mean to you? Yes, you're the hateful. I remember when when I was preaching in Africa, Governor Maharaj, he visited, And the person who was closest to him in the front, he became slack. He became the he would tell you put pressures across to him. And then the next day, the guy who was sitting close there, he ran to the bag. So don't worry. It's not only you. I'm going to ask you. Don't worry. Yes, what does envy mean to you?
So it's basically hatred of someone's success or someone's, it's like insecurity in the heart from someone. So that's why we envy someone.
Yes, but what does envy mean to you?
You don't like the way somebody is be there, successful or whatever in the higher position. Or you want to be there in that position. So like your enemy of God means you want to be God.
Yes, Prabhu?
Unable to take the success of others and wish them, they completely vanish, completely demolish. That's it. It's beyond jealousy. They shouldn't exist. That's it. It's completely vanish.
Yes, Mataji, we are not leaving you behind. Yes?
It's like not able to tolerate other person's prosperity, and you want to enjoy and you want to have all that prosperity, whatever, and want to see that person lower than you.
And we don't want to leave the youths.
I think envy means just to not appreciate what other people have and to always want what they have and not accept what we have and be satisfied.
So thank you very much. These are nice literary definitions or literary approaches to the phenomenon of envy. And envy, spiritually speaking, is considered to be appreciate all of your contribution. Envy, basically, in the spiritual circle, for instance, is considered to be a deadly sin, because it has generated so much of crisis in society that, in some cases, would result to death. And because it is such an important construct, or it's such an important negative emotion, it is very destructive. We find a case where psychologists have also invested so much of energy in the study of envy. In some of the studies, they attribute envy to basically social due to some social comparative processes. Someone has something and we want to compare. Oh, it's supposed to be me. A typical case we find very in the Srimad Bhagavatam. When a king was not having a child, and then the young wife gave birth to a child, the other wives, they conspired and killed it. Huh? Remember that story? Who was that?
Dhruv Maharaj?
No. Not Dhruv Maharaj. There was a king. He had no child until late. Eventually he had, a young wife who gave birth to a child, and the other co-wives conspired and killed the child. Who was that?
Yes, afterwards.
Matajis, you are always around. A number of, these days, I think a number of the Matajis also, they are professionally working, so we can't claim that they are always around. Anyway, so it's a general question. Who was that? I know the case in Detroit. When you ask a question to the men, they don't answer, just ask, they turn to the ladies and ask. They will answer. They will answer, yeah. So who was that? who was poisoned by the co-wives of the mother. Yes, you wanted to say something?
Yeah,
Malicious.
I actually don't remember the name, but I have heard the story. I'm just
Yeah,
missing the name.
it's part of Bhagavatam.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of Bhagavatam.
Anyway,
Fifth
huh?
contest.
Huh?
It's at the fifth contest.
What is the name? The name is not Anyway, don't worry. So, the bottom line is that, there are two types. There are two types. All envies are not really bad, because in the study of psychology, there is distinguished between different types of envies. There's one is malicious envy, the other is benign envy. Benign envy. That benign envy is like, it gives you some type of motivation. This person is like this. I want to be like him. It makes you to work hard, perhaps harder. Perhaps harder. But the malicious envy is such that, why him? I should be the one.
Let him take out.
Let him go with me at the abode of Yamaraj. Let him go away from me at the abode of Yamaraj. It happens. I remember the case, a case of a king, a general in the military, and one of his lieutenants had a beautiful, super beautiful, attractive lady. And then he got his gun to go to the war front and be killed. And he took over his wife. Yeah, so envy could be very terrible. Sometimes it could really cause death. Sometimes it could bring wars, enmity, etc. And you see, sometimes envy is also right in the family. The man or the woman has a bigger salary, and then the other one thinks, I'm supposed to have a bigger salary. Or you work so hard, there's so much of money. All right. So these things are there. They are basically horrible, undesirable emotions. But then how do people really acquire envy? It's a bad emotion that, we have it. The bad things, bad emotions that are basically intrinsic, and sometimes they're just inherent in us from birth. So how to deal with that? It's not something like, I mentioned the other day. These negative emotions, they are not things you go to the mall to purchase with your money. They don't sell them, but we have we have them. So what to do? Even you can be envious of your spouse because maybe the both of you are working and then they're having a bigger salary. It's just so funny. The money is going to the same house. The same house. So you just see how negative this emotion is. So it's something that will really trap people down, encapsulate people, circumscribe people, and, bewilder their consciousness. And this envy is one of those emotions that obviously is due to the pollution of the mind, contaminated mind, pathological state of mind. The mind is polluted. It absorbs so many things. That's how, again, I was mentioning the other day. The mind is like a chameleon. It takes up, the colors of the environment, the vibrations of the environment. It just absorbs all of those. And so sometimes there is no cause to be envious. Whether it is malicious or otherwise, sometimes there is no cause to be envious. But then, envy is just generated because of the pollution of consciousness, or because of the impurity of the mind. I mean, it's like we have negative emotions. But the point is, the conscious effort, just see, even in the scriptures, envy has caused so much trouble. In the Chaitanya later, they were having nocturnal kirtans in Srivasa's house. And some neighbor just came and, filed up paraphernalias of, worship of Durga. Just out of envy. To ridicule him, to minimize him. Or he's thinking he's doing bhakti. Oh, come and see. Look at the paraphernalia at his Also, you remember the case of Daksha cousin Chitraketu, cousin was Shiva. Out of envy, proper mentions, right there. Out of envy. So in envy, we can't just tolerate the person's exalted position. It's intolerable. And so it is a very distracting emotion, and it's also a very destructive emotion. It's a deadly emotion. And sometimes it happens. In America, I've heard cases where a girl brings her boyfriend home and the mother takes over. Or a boy brings the girlfriend home and the father takes over. Oh yeah. With threats sometimes. With threats. So it's a horrible emotion that has no sympathy for anyone. If we make ourselves susceptible to that emotion, we could become grounded. And the worst thing is, it checkmates our progress like anything. And so, even in the Gita, it is mentioned that, Lord Krishna mentioned, Lord Krishna mentioned that this transcendental, this higher knowledge of the absolute truth, especially Christian Prema, that information is not meant for the envious. But this doesn't mention that envy is like a cataract, which will not allow, a cataract doesn't allow the person to see properly. It becomes an obstruction to vision. So envy becomes an obstruction to our spiritual vision, especially the vision of attaining Krishna Prema. Envy is different from jealousy. Jealousy, basically, according to psychological literature, jealousy is having to do with a third party. Envy is just is two people involved. I see you're making some progress, and I'm uncomfortable with it. And it just happens so funny. We've seen situations where someone is making progress, and maybe someone has some special skills, even in the preaching, even in our movement. Someone has some special skills, and instead of the other person appreciating, and then they want to bring you down. Are you doing this because, or you've been blessed to do this because you are incapable of Yeah, so it is a dangerous, it's a subtle enemy. It's one of the greatest enemy of the spiritualist. Envy is one of the greatest enemy of the spiritualist. It locks in and gradually erodes your appreciative thinking. Erodes your appreciative thinking until it gets to a point where you don't know what you are doing, and people could be surprised how you openly will castigate someone for no reason. In the in the corporate world, it's a common scenario, common phenomenon. Especially when you're the boss in the office. It's just a common thing. But it is something, it's a negative emotion that we need to understand that it could really hamper our spiritual progress. Well, imagine, Lord Krishna said, this is not meant for the envious. Yes, we can even envy Krishna. But what about his part and parcels? We can also envy his part and parcels. And in either case, he's still envy, and is an ill wind that blows no devotee any good. And so if we have those emotions, that type of emotion in us, then we should conscientiously make efforts to see that emotion is rectified or purified. And when we make some conscientious effort to deal with that emotion, that constitutes an austerity of the mind. So there are different types of austerities. And the mind, which is the repository of so many emotions, if the mind is purified, then a number of these emotions just completely become transformed into positive aspects of emotions that could facilitate our growth. So basically, the mind is a pivot. If you deal with the mind, a number of these negative emotions will become purified. And how do we deal with that? It's not that, we're not going to be envious, but if we are envious of someone, what do we do? You can even be envious of your own child. He has a... I'm supposed to have this type of quality. Why him or why her? Yes, it happens. So, it is a deadly disease, a deadly emotion, a deadly sin, because it has caused so much of trouble. And therefore, whether it is benign or whether it is malicious, it is not actually something that we should make friends with. Envy and jealousy, they always travel in the same sports car. Oh, yeah. Because if you go into the dictionaries, because of course we understand that the dictionaries are not basically, they're not written by people who are really intellectuals in terms of conducting experiments to be able to define constructs or concepts. But if you go into the dictionaries, you find that in some dictionaries they say in the thesaurus synonyms, they say jealousy is a synonym of envy. But there's a slight difference. And therefore, we have to understand that the purification of the mind is what could help to eradicate envy in our hearts. If we neglect that, it becomes such a difficult thing. And what is the process of the purification? What is the process? Yes, share with us. How do we deal with envy? Yeah, because if envy is rested, the sitting place of envy is the mind. And we understand that if the mind is purified, then the envy is transformed to appreciative thinking. So then what was the process of purifying the mind?
We fill the mind with positive desires, like practicing Bhakti Yoga.
Yes. We engage the mind. Krishna mentions in the Gita, Man mana bhava ma bhavta amyas namnamata. Engage the mind. Always thinking of Krishna. But is that possible for us? Man mana bhava ma bhavta. To be his devotee, engage the mind always in thinking of him is very impractical. Because see, you have to work for 8 hours in the office. Huh? You have a family to take care of. Huh? You have to sleep. So, the point is, that is the Paramahamsa level. To always think of Krishna. Because the Paramahamsa, when even he goes to sleep, he's dreaming, doing some services, engaged in seva. Because what he's been doing in his physical state, the body has become so much absorbed in that, it's become so much purified, that even when he goes to sleep, it's a continuous process. Just like, you're just going from one room to the other. But for us, it requires a process of sadhana. Sadhana means practical, spiritual practice that some of the things that you have to do as a sadhaka, you don't feel, it doesn't feel convenient. So it entails some type of inconvenience. I mean, it's like you have to wake up in the morning to do your japa before the sunrise. So early morning is a period that is, the sleep is sweetest, isn't it? Isn't it? So when you have to get up early in the morning, there is an austerity. And what is even more difficult is you have your own house, you have your own big house. I mean, I remember in those days when we are, I see one of the beauties of my going to high school was that it was like a preparation for my spiritual life. Because when we were in high school, we were living in dormitories. We were living on the school premises, in hostels. And so, there's a time you must go to sleep. I think about 9 o'clock or 9:30. You must go to sleep. And there's a time you must wake up in the morning. They will ring a bell and you must wake up. And you go to pray, you go to study. And then there will be devotion. So, I mean, those time when I'm moving to the temple, I mean, I said, but I did all this when I was in high school. Yeah, so, but if you didn't undergo that type of process, and in your house, you can always have excuses. Maybe your wife comes to tell you, hey, Pabu, look at the time. You have to wake up. You have to go to work, you have to turn. And you can tell your wife that, I'm sick. Good excuse, eh? Because no one is there to force it, and you are the controller. So, my point is, individuals living in their homes, because it will be more difficult to perform sadhana. Because the mind can tell you anything, and you may process it and, align with it. And so, we have to be courageous. And we need the support of each other, even at home and in the community. We need, as a spiritual support system where we are open and highly adjustable to the environmental factors. I don't know what environmental factors means. Your family is your immediate environment. your family members, that's your immediate environment. I remember in case of one of my friends in Delhi, he told me a story and I was just laughing. He had these two boys. I think one of them is 4, the other one is 2 or so. So this boy, the younger one, or I don't know whether the younger one or the older one, he told me, and he works in a print media, some company, some journalism. So he told me how his son, like the son is like a spiritual master, because he'll be sleeping, and then the son, the small boy, wakes him up, 3 o'clock. Papa, I want to go to Mangarati. In Delhi. So he has to go to. He has to go and take a shower. I said, you're so lucky that you have a boy who wants to wake you up. So if your son wakes you up like that, you feel ashamed to give him excuses. Plus the fact that you are supposed to be the caretaker, and he's the one taking care of you. Okay? But not everyone is welcome. And therefore, if we understand in principle that envy is a very negative emotion, and we should not keep envy as a companion. And therefore, we need to purify the mind. And the process that we have, the very effective process that we have, is this process of sadhana bhakti, which entails 9 processes beginning with hearing and chanting of Krishna's names. If we take this process seriously, it will lead us to emancipation completely from all of these incarcerations of negative emotions, like envy. A pure devotee does not envy anyone. Krishna also mentioned, he does not envy anyone. So envy is a business of conditioned souls. And it could take different shapes or different routes. But all the same, it is very destructive. And so when we take to the process of bhakti or a devotional service, we have to understand the primary essential element is chanting Krishna's name. And that is even the very last thing that all of our practice, all of our devotional practices are based on how we come to the level where we'll always remember Krishna and never to forget him. And basically, if we are able to imbibe cultural devotion every day, we will douse off this negative emotion. Envy, anger, all of these, they are deadly emotions. And so, for our own social stability and access to Krishna Prema, we need to deal with it. The important thing is also that we identify, we evaluate ourselves, we check our lives. Are we having this disease? If we're not having, congratulations. If we do have, we have to work on it. And so here in this text, it is mentioned that someone who is envious, it's a serious thing, because Krishna himself personally arranges to throw such a person into demoniac forms, demoniac species. Snakes are very envious. Snakes are very envious. Prabhupada mentioned in the purport that hunters, huh? hunters are also very envious. There were no snakes. In fact, Bhaktisiddhantas, we are not supposed to be violent, but Bhaktisiddhanta, he mentioned that you can kill snake. And so devotees, they were amazed. They said, why? Because snake is very envious. So we have this snake in us, this snake of envy. And this could, impede our devotional progress. Because when we are overwhelmed by envy, access to Krishna Prema, the door is not open. If even we have a remote control, it won't open. And so, we have to see how we're practically utilizing our lives in Bhakti Yoga and devotional service to create a total transformation. We want a virile society, but we also do need to understand that change we're expecting from everyone should begin with us. And so this is basically the provision that Prabhupada has given to us. Solution is there. These negative emotions could be changed, could be transformed. It's not like an incurable disease. There's no medicine for it. No, it's not like that. There's a medicine for it. And it's not even expensive. In fact, you don't pay for it. It's not expensive at all. You don't pay any money. You don't pay any money to deal with this. So, free things are not always appreciated. Free things. Yeah, but, we should understand that. By clearing off or by transforming this type of negative emotion through devotional service, we will have more stable social lives, which will allow us to radiate love, beginning with our immediate environment, which is our family. And then you come into the bigger community. Because if someone is able to become purified of this type of anarthas, then your way back home, back to Godhead. The door, is similar to when someone is serving, why do we say when you serve a Paramahamsa, serve a pure devotee, your door to Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka is open? Because we become purified. It expedites the purification. And so, as we serve, and we embark on other spiritual practices like chanting of Krishna's names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Hare. It looks very simple, but it works wonders. It has changed so many people in the past. It has continued to change people. And it will continue to change people. Just like chanting of Paramahamsas transforms people. Serving Nana Prabhu by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. This creates a transformation that we can't even imagine. It will change all negative emotions. It will transform our lives, including whatever envy, traces of envy or whatever that may take shelter of the mind. These things will be transformed. So the scriptures, they are replete with stories about people, the consequences of envy, And the solution is also given to us. Is there any comments or questions in this point?
So Maharaj, one story I heard from Service Radhanath Swami Maharaj, that there were two yogis in caves of Himalayas, and they were practicing.
He was in Himalayas.
Huh?
He was in
Yeah,
Himalayas.
Maharaj was in Himalayas too. And then Maharaj mentioned that one yogi, somehow people find it out about him that he's a very great yogi, and then sometimes they are coming to see him, and then there was another yogi in the just cave next to him, and one day that yogi who became little popular, he went to take bath, and then yogi who renounced everything for years, living in caves of Himalayas, he came and shot the yogi. So envy to that level. So now the question comes to mind, like, what is the level of, and what should be the quality of our sadhana? I mean, we can see envy is so intense and so dangerous.
Even Daksha was a Brahmin. Daksha, who enviously cursed Lord Shiva and brought a lot of disaster to himself, he was a Brahmin.
So all these stories sometimes bring a little discouragement, but also there is a good news. So what is the proper, really strict and straightforward method and, good sadhana to...
Yeah, you see, sadhana, when people hear of yogis being in the forest, and in Kali Yoga, someone also goes into the forest, in the Himalayas, he's doing the wrong thing. In Kali Yoga, there's a prescribed process for self-realization. If someone does not follow that process, and then you go and see, you rationalize that, it's in the Vedas. It's in the Vedas. Doing meditation, you go to the forest. But which age? Which yoga is that recommended? This is the problem people have. And so, when people want to become involved with spiritual culture, we need guidance. Lord Krishna mentions that vidi panipatena paripasnena se upadakshanti te jnanam jnanina tattva dashi. We want to learn something. If we want to become medical doctors, we will go to medical school. We want to become engineers, we go to engineering school. In a similar way, we want to become spiritually astute. We need a spiritual master to guide us. We need a spiritual professor to guide us. And if that is not there, then, we choose to do it the way we want. The results might not be very encouraging. So the story of the baby, that's clear. That's one good example. Because when someone goes to the forest in Kali Yoga and starts to embark on some, sadhana of not eating, that is not prescribed in Kali Yoga. The Yoga Dharma for Kali Yoga is what? Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalu, Nasti. This is the problem with the spiritual process. People want to jump the gun, or they don't want to follow guidance. So it's a problem. And besides, going to the forest is not prescribed in Kali Yoga. Kali Yoga is just prescribed. People have to chant Krishna's names. Krishna mentions 5,000 years ago, over 5,000 years ago, when he was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra driving Arjuna's chariot, that we need spiritual guidance. If we don't do that, and we want to choose whatever we want to do, we may not get the appropriate purification the time we needed it most. And that is when the mind becomes more and more poisoned. Sometimes people hear, people go to the bank of the Ganges to simply do meditation. Let me also go there. It's not prescribing Kali Yoga. Prescription for self-realization becoming spiritualized in Kali Yoga is to take shelter of Nama Prabhu, to chant Krishna's names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So sometimes people think those of us who are following this, we're just stupid. We are not stupid, man. This is, a basic principle people should understand. Sometimes people say, why are you doing the simple thing? But what is it? It's about what is the most result-oriented. And so, people want to do their thing. It's not by power. People don't get to control their emotions by their own personal power. It's by the mercy of the Lord, the mercy of the spiritual master, the mercy of Dhamma Prabhu, the mercy of the devotees. So if you abandon the devotees and then want to go into the forest, we don't have that spiritual support system. It's like, I don't want to do it by myself. I want to struggle all by myself. So that's the result. So, if people take proper shelter of the holy name, proper shelter of the spiritual master, proper shelter of the devotees around us, we don't commit offenses, or we avoid committing offenses. We will not risk having to be overwhelmed by envy to that degree.
So Maharaj, the question is now, what exactly means by proper? Because we have seen, I can say from our personal